Step number one, you've got to know your outcome. In any situation in life, you've got to decide right now, what do I want out of these 30 days? What do I want out of this situation in my life? The more clear you are on what you want, the more you empower your brain to come up with answers. There's an old phrase that may have been overused, but I think it's pretty accurate. It says, clarity is power. You must get focused on what you want. And in this tape program, we have a goal-setting workshop that's going to help you to get precisely clear on what you want in your life, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, intellectually, so that you have something that's the driving force behind your behavior. How can you use this first formula to make a difference in your life right now? How could just getting clear on knowing your outcome help you? Well, I believe when you know your outcome, you've empowered yourself. I mean, let's say, for example, you're in the middle of an argument. And have you ever gotten caught up in an argument where you're so caught up in it that you forgot what you were even arguing for, but you knew you had to win? I know I've been there. See, if in the middle of that argument you were to ask the question, hey, what's my outcome in this situation? You're going to probably find out your outcome is not to argue. The outcome you want is to resolve something. When you get focused on what you really want out of the situation, you empower your brain to use its resources to produce results right now. So get into that habit. The habit of asking yourself, what's my outcome? And throughout these 30 days, I'm going to constantly ask you, how can you use this? What I just said, what's useful about that for your life? What is your outcome in applying this in your own life? It's critical to continually focus on your target. Even if you're just going to buy to visit with a friend. On the way over to see a friend, ask yourself, what's my outcome? Maybe the answer is, well, just to have fun or to make my friend feel really appreciated and loved. Now, if you know that's your outcome, your chances of having more fun or making your friend feel loved go up 1,000% versus if you just go over and hang out and wonder why you're bored. Now, I'm not saying you have to be so goal-oriented that every minute you're trying to achieve something. I'm just saying it's useful to let your brain know the direction that you're heading. And everyone I know who succeeded had to start with getting clear on exactly what they wanted. Go up 1,000% versus if you just go over and hang out and wonder why you're bored. Now, I'm not saying you have to be so goal-oriented that every minute you're trying to achieve something. I'm just saying it's useful to let your brain know the direction that you're heading. And everyone I know who succeeded had to start with getting clear on exactly what they wanted. Here's step 2 of the ultimate success formula. By the way, step 1 I did. I decided what I wanted physically, financially, emotionally, in my business. I looked at everything spiritually. And once I knew, I had the first stage of my personal power. Step 2 to tapping your power is you've got to use it. That is, you've got to get yourself to take action and move towards the achievement of your goals. Now, what most people tell me is, but I don't know what to do. I don't know. What if I try and it doesn't work? All I can say to you is this. If you try and it doesn't work, you got an education. You're better off than where you were before because you now know what doesn't work. And you'll probably make a distinction or two that'll help you succeed even more. Most people in life have no idea what they want, but worse, a few people know what they want, but they don't do anything about it. They just sit around and hope or say, someday, honey, we'll do this. Someday is now. Someday is here. This 30 days is a chance for you to commit to absolutely turning someday into today. Someday is now. Someday is here. This 30 days is a chance for you to commit to absolutely turning someday into today. I remember hearing a phrase years ago that said, the road to someday leads to a town of nowhere. It's a place you don't want to end up in. So you got to get yourself to take action. How do you do that? You decide. I hear people all the time saying, well, gosh, how do I change my life? And my answer is decide to. Make a decision right now. You're not willing to settle for anything less than you can be. That you're not willing to live the way you're living right now, no matter how good it may seem, that you're going to push yourself to the next level. Demanding more from yourself than anybody else could possibly expect is true power. And all it takes is deciding. Remember, the word decision in its original Latin root means to cut off from. When you decide, you cut off from any other possibility. Latin root means to cut off from. When you decide, you cut off from any other possibility. The biggest trap that keeps people from taking action is their fear. Their fear of failure, their fear of success, their fear of rejection, their fear of pain, their fear of the unknown. But the only way to deal with fear is face it. Look it eye to eye and take action in spite of it. I'm sure you probably have heard of some of the seminars I do in which we teach people how to break through their fears and take action. And at the end of the seminar, they get a chance to use what they've learned to overcome a major fear and literally walk through fire. between 800 and 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, a lot of people think it's crazy. They go, why would you do a thing like that? Well, it's not to teach people new picnic skills, and it's not mind over matter. Right now, you could walk through fire. I'm not encouraging you to. Make sure you hear me. But you could. It's absolutely possible. You don't need me to do it. You could also be up at 6 o'clock a.m. with total passion for living. You could also have the person of your dreams be in your life right now. You could also be earning what you're worth. You could also have more influence on your children than virtually anyone else. But few people do. Also have the person of your dreams be in your life right now. You could also be earning what you're worth. You could also have more influence on your children than virtually anyone else. But few people do. But few people do. It's not what we can do in life that makes the difference. It's what we will do. And we don't follow through because we don't know what we want oftentimes. And when we know, we're afraid to take action. Listen, fear can serve us. Fear isn't all bad. So it'll make us pay attention as long as fear is a counselor and not a jailer. Make sure that you listen to your fear, make some more distinctions, and then get yourself to take action in spite of it. And I got to tell you, breaking through fear is like anything else. It's like a muscle. In the beginning, if you try and lift a heavy weight, boy, you might say, gosh, I can't do this. But if you start small and you build every single day for like 30 days, for example, then what's going to happen is every day you get a little stronger, and pretty soon it becomes effortless to do what used to feel like it was impossible. It's time for you to develop the muscle of making decisions quickly and easily and following through on them. Do what used to feel like it was impossible. It's time for you to develop the muscle of making decisions quickly and easily and following through on them. And following through on them. Here's the third key element to the ultimate success formula. Once you know what you want and you get yourself to take action, do your actions always work? Of course not. Most people in life fail much more often than they succeed. In fact, the most successful people are the most successful people because they failed more than anybody else. I mean, think about it. Think about it in baseball. In baseball, a Hall of Famer, someone who is the best in the world at what they do in the area of baseball, they fail 7 times out of 10. How'd you like to have a life like that? The bottom line is to get in the Hall of Fame, they only succeed about 30% of the time. They failed more than 70% of the time. And you know what? That's how life is too. Hey, listen, in doing this taping with you and talking to you personally, I may not sound elegant all the time because I don't care. What I want to do is get across to you. I want you to get the message in your gut. That's what matters to me. If I say something that doesn't work, I'll just move on to something else. And I ask you to try the same thing in life. Most people in life, out of their fear of failure, don't try anything at all. And that's ultimate failure. You got to get yourself to take action. You got to get yourself to follow through, and you got to be willing to notice whether it's working or not. That's step 3. Notice what you're getting from your actions. In other words, you know what you want. You got yourself to take action. Now notice, is it working? Am I getting closer to my goal or further away? Don't kid yourself or just keep taking action because after all, you work so hard to do it this way, I might as well keep on doing it. So you don't want to get locked into tunnel vision. Remember, flexibility is power. What you've got to do, though, is know what you're getting. I mean, a standard example is, have you ever had somebody come up and talk to you? And they're going on and on and on. And you're trying to be very polite. And they mistake your being polite for the fact that you were interested. Now, bottom line, or maybe you've been on the other side. You thought somebody was interested, but they were just being polite with you. What that says to me is you're not noticing. You're not paying attention closely enough to the results you're getting. You got to pay close attention so that you're empowered. So if things aren't working, you can just change them, which is step 4. Which is, if you see that what you're doing is not working, you're not getting closer to your goal, you're getting further away, instead of feeling like a failure, just change your approach. Try something else. Now you may say, Tony, well, what if that something else doesn't work? Well, guess what? Try something else. What if that doesn't work? Try something else. What if that doesn't work? Try something else. How often would you keep trying, keep changing? The answer is until you succeed. If things aren't working, you can just change them, which is step 4. Which is, if you see that what you're doing is not working, you're not getting closer to your goal, you're getting further away, instead of feeling like a failure, just change your approach. Try something else. Now you may say, Tony, well, what if that something else doesn't work? Well, guess what? Try something else. What if that doesn't work? Try something else. What if that doesn't work? Try something else. How often would you keep trying, keep changing? The answer is until you succeed. Try and keep changing. The answer is until you succeed. I mean, let me ask you a question. How long would you give your average baby to learn how to walk? How long would you give your average baby before you shut him off and didn't let him try anymore? You say, what are you, crazy? My kid's going to keep trying until he or she walks. Ah, magic formula. No wonder almost everybody in the whole world walks. But see, adults don't operate this way. Adults have learned to fear this thing called failure. So if they try something that doesn't work, they might change once or twice, but after that, they try and slowly leave and not do that anymore, not play that sport anymore, not try that anymore, because they don't want to not look good, because that would be painful. Break out of that. Grab your personal power. Be flexible. Grab the power of flexibility. So, a review, real simple. Number one, get clear on what you want. And this tape program is going to help you to do that. We're going to put you through a whole workshop on that. 2, get yourself to take action. How do you do it? Decide. That's really that simple. Now, I'm going to show you some ways to make it easier to get yourself to follow through. In fact, in the next 2 tapes, you're going to discover what makes us really do what we do and how we can change the inner controls that direct our behavior. But you can, with any of this other information, you can just decide and make a change right now in your life. Exercise your power to act. That's called your personal power. Thirdly, know what you're getting. Again, remember, you want to develop what I call sensory acuity. Sensory acuity means you want to have acute sensitivity for the impact that your present behavior is having. Pay attention. Power. Thirdly, know what you're getting. Again, remember, you want to develop what I call sensory acuity. Sensory acuity means you want to have acute sensitivity for the impact that your present behavior is having. Pay attention. Present behavior is having. Pay attention. Hey, when an aircraft takes off from the mainland to fly to Hawaii, it doesn't go straight from here to there. It's off course 95% of the time. How do they do it? Well, the people on board, first of all, know their outcome. They know where they're going. I know recently in the news there's some people that landed at the wrong airport. They obviously missed step 1. 2, once they know what it is, they fire up the engines and they take action. They get going. 3, they notice whether it's working. They have a computer on board that tells them, are they on course or off course? And they're off course most of the time. The winds and so forth make adjustments. So what do? They don't go, oh my God, we're going to fail. We're not going to make it to Hawaii. No, they just simply notice what's working, notice what's not working, and they change their approach. And they keep changing back and forth till they land in Hawaii on a dime. That's the ultimate success formula. That's what I did in my life. And I added one thing to it. Approach. And they keep changing back and forth till they land in Hawaii on a dime. That's the ultimate success formula. That's what I did in my life. And I added one thing to it. There's a way to speed up this formula. And that way is this. Instead of just knowing what you want and taking random actions, you can use what I call role modeling to accelerate the pace of your success. What I did is I said, okay, what do I want? I'm 38 pounds overweight. I want to lose this weight. I want to be 38 pounds lighter, and I want to have more energy. I want to feel more vibrant in my life. You can tell by my energy level that I'm a real low energy person now compared to how I was then. Seriously, I decided what I wanted. And then what I did is I said, okay, I got to take action, but what action should I take? I didn't know. I tried dieting a zillion times. And you know what? It would work. I would lose weight and then I'd gain it right back again. And I'd lose weight and gain it back again. So what I decided to do is instead of just taking some actions and sooner or later figuring it out, I decided to use a role model. I said, let me find someone who's already getting the results that I want. And let me find out what that person is doing and do the same things. That is, I believe that success leaves clues. That if people succeed, it's because they're doing certain things over and over and over again. And if we do the same kinds of things, if we plant the same kinds of seeds, we're going to reap the same kinds of rewards, regardless of our age or our background or our religion or our color or our gender. None of that matters. What matters is the law works for everyone. And if you apply it, it'll work, but you got to know what to do. And so this 30-day program is the result of me going out and modeling people that are successful. That is, instead of reinventing the wheel and having you and I keep doing trial and error on everything, I said, hey, let me find somebody who's already getting the results, find out what they do the same things, get the same results, speed up time. You got to remember, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. I mean, don't you know someone who knows what they should do with their life, knows they should change their life, knows how they can change their life, and they still don't do it? Do you know somebody like that maybe intimately? Like maybe you, for example, at times? Then the bottom line is knowledge is not enough. We got to get ourselves to follow through. So what did I do? I found somebody who had been overweight like me, had become thin and stayed thin for years. I found out what this person did, and I did the same things. I'm going to teach you in this program what to do that. It wasn't just dieting. That's not enough. As a result of following through and taking the same actions, I lost 30 pounds in 30 days. I lost all 38 pounds in about 7 weeks, and I haven't gone back. And the reason is I didn't just change my diet. I learned to mentally condition myself to feel differently about certain foods I was addicted to, so I no longer had a desire for them, the things that used to push me over the edge. I did the same thing in the area of relationships. I found a man who had the woman of my dreams. And I talked to him and said, hey, how did you attract this woman? And I talked to her and said, why do you like this guy? Why are you in a relationship with him? And I began to find out certain things he did that made that relationship work. And I started applying some of the same things. Within less than a year, I found the woman of my dreams and I married her. I decided I wanted to have kids, 2 or 3. Well, I got 3 of them instantly. I became a parent right away. How's that for creating your own reality? And I did the same thing financially. I went from a place where I had no confidence in myself emotionally, feeling depressed, to a place of total strength, and financially, a measurable change to say the least. I was broke living in my 400 square foot bachelor apartment. What happened? In less than 12 months, I moved to my 1,200 square foot apartment, major progress at the time, 3 times bigger, to about 4 months later, I moved to a 10,000 square foot castle, literally a castle built in 1925 with a big 3-story turret overlooking the crashing waves of Del Mar, California. Now, I don't tell you this to impress you. I tell it to impress upon you how quickly you can make changes in your life if you learn to master this incredible computer between your ears called your brain. That's what we're going to study. We're going to study neurosciences, the sciences of success conditioning. That's what this whole program's about, and we're going to do it a little piece at a time so it's simple. If you'll do that, the culmination of the 30 days, you will find that you've gone on a mental diet that'll change your life forever. To about 4 months later, I moved to a 10,000 square foot castle, literally a castle built in 1925 with a big 3-story turret overlooking the crashing waves of Del Mar, California. Now, I don't tell you this to impress you. I tell it to impress upon you how quickly you can make changes in your life if you learn to master this incredible computer between your ears called your brain. That's what we're going to study. We're going to study neurosciences, the sciences of success conditioning. That's what this whole program's about, and we're going to do it a little piece at a time so it's simple. If you'll do that, the culmination of the 30 days, you will find that you've gone on a mental diet that'll change your life forever. Do that, the culmination of the 30 days, you will find that you've gone on a mental diet that'll change your life forever. Change your life forever. If success is really this simple, if you could go from being where I was years ago, broke in every sense of the word, emotionally broke, physically broke, socially broke, and financially broke, to wealthy in all those areas, meeting my dreams, becoming a millionaire in less than 12 months, if that's really possible, if it's really as simple as using your personal power and being flexible in your approach and modeling the most successful people, if it's really that simple, how come everybody doesn't do this? That's a good question. A lot of things in life are really simple, but people don't apply them because they get caught up in day-to-day stuff like, well, I got to pay my bills. They get caught up in making that living instead of designing the life. And they come to the end of their life and find out they lived only 1/10 of it. Not because they weren't intelligent, simply because they didn't get clear about what they wanted. They didn't get themselves to consistently take action and develop that decision-making, massive action muscle in their emotional body. They didn't vary their behaviors, and now they're stuck. It's not a place I think you want to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't have invested in this program, and you wouldn't be taking the time to listen now. So what I'm asking you to do is break through those fears that stop you. And the biggest one that comes up again and again, we've already mentioned it, is failure. Place I think you want to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't have invested in this program, and you wouldn't be taking the time to listen now. So what I'm asking you to do is break through those fears that stop you. And the biggest one that comes up again and again, we've already mentioned it, is failure. And again, we've already mentioned it, is failure.